right, this is Dion, one of your hosts from Civic Duty. I'm glad to say I'm sitting outside the courthouse now, the city building, state building, with my partner Aben, and we just left a meeting, a bond hearing. And what happened in that bond hearing was very significant. The mayor and Bud Field just took over the treasurer's office. That may sound weird to you, but it's true. Neither one of them have the knowledge or the ability to run the business of the treasurer's office. But it's only 3 people on the bond committee: the treasurer, the mayor, and the head of the finance committee, which is Bud Field. So 2-1 on all the votes. Now it's ridiculous to even have an elected official say we have to have someone in charge of the bond committee. There's only 3 people on that committee. So since there's only 3 people on the committee, anytime there's a vote, it has to be a 2-1, or 3-0. But they want total control. So why would they want total control of the treasurer's office? Well, I'm going to tell you why. There's a lot of issues going on in the city of Wilmington concerning finance. The number one issue with us, the citizens, is the $3.4 million. If the mayor has control of the Treasury Department, that won't come up again. The 3.4 will be passed down to the residents of the city, and the mayor's accomplices in stealing this money will go unpunished. The fix is really it.
Where will the money go, though?
The 3.4 million that the mayor wants to replace with the other 3.4 million will be just to one of his banking buddies, and it'll be an interest rate of probably over a 20-year period. That 3.3 million will probably cost $7 million, all interest payments. We have the money now, we can pay it, we all know that. The thing is, like I'm saying to you, they want to take control of the treasurer's office to shut the city treasurer up. She's more than proficient at her job, she's proven it time and time again. So why would Bud Field and the mayor want to take her office over? Just to shut her up. But that 3.4 million, the money has been stolen, it hasn't been replaced. The Wilmington Housing Partnership is still getting checks, I was told, from the city of Wilmington. Now here you have an insolvent company, a company that's no longer in existence, a company that has not paid anything back to the city of Wilmington, but yet now the city of Wilmington is still giving them money, I was told. What is going on? These questions need to be answered. They don't need to be answered by me. They need to be answered by the federal government. The federal government needs to step in here because the city of Wilmington is under siege. Thank you.
I'm here at the Bond Committee meeting today because there's been a historic change in the practices of this committee. The mayor and Bud Friel have assumed responsibilities that were not previously, for the last 30 years, understood to be the purview of the treasurer. And to me, it is a power grab. I'm very distressed with the continuing activities of the city in what I believe to be the gentrification of this city and ignoring the wishes of the people of the city.
I think the worst part of what just happened is the public wasn't allowed to comment. I think that every government meeting should be open to the public, which they are, but there should also be an opportunity for the public to be able to speak and give comment. So I'm definitely going to write some legislation towards that, because there have been far too many meetings where the public has been cut out, and there were people who showed up, they wanted to be heard, and I think that was pretty disrespectful for them not to be allowed to just to voice their opinion. They took time out of their day to come down and hear what was going on. They want to be a part. Like, as public officials, we're constantly asking the public to be a part of the government and of the political process, but then they come to meetings and they aren't allowed to participate. So that was probably the biggest travesty. Secondly, I think that there was definitely an attempt to limit the treasurer's responsibility and authority, and I'm glad that she isn't silent about it. She invited council members to come. She wanted the public to be here to see what was going on, because normally this meeting probably would have had just those people who were around the table, maybe even less. But since she wasn't going to stand by and be silent, and she spoke up about it, she invited people to come, people came, but unfortunately they weren't allowed to speak. So I think that we just have to be aware of what's going on, and not allow these kind of meetings to continue to go on, and to be especially disrespectful and disregarding the public, and and what their feedback could be. And hopefully we always talk about open government, But even though this meeting was public and everyone was invited, I don't think this was an open meeting because the public couldn't participate. So that, in my mind, is the biggest tragedy that happened just now. Again, I'm going to write legislation so that we can address that, so that every public meeting will always have to have public comment. Now we leave it up to the chair if they want to allow the public to comment. Most of the times they do, but there are times when they don't, and this is one of those times, and I think that's very unfair. But I just applaud the treasurer, Ms. Velda Jones-Potter, for her efforts and for her ability to do what she's supposed to do. I mean, I've been on council 12 years now, and this is the first time the treasurer has ever been as inviting to council members and to the public, just so that we all can kind of learn of how the city works. So I applaud her and her efforts. Hopefully she will continue to do what she does, but I think it will take more of us to help to support her, so that she has the kind of backing that she needs to bring things to the light. When she thinks that things aren't as they should be, she should be able to do that, and we have to support her. She can't do it alone. So I encourage people to come out and just participate and just to learn, whether you agree with her or you don't, whether you agree with me or whoever you don't, or you do agree with, just come out and be a part of the process. But hopefully we as city officials will allow you to be a part of it.
So, hello. I am glad to have this opportunity to speak to the public and to share with you just some disappointing activity by the two members of the city's bond committee, namely Mayor Mike Brzezicki and Councilman Bud Friel. There has been an effort for months now, and not too dissimilar, frankly, from the sentiment that I'm seeing across the city, to exert undue control and influence and leverage over key decisions and operations of the city that are not necessarily in the purview of the administration. And so in this case, it's the Office of the Treasurer. Frankly, I see very similar behavior in the engagement regarding members of City Council and their rules. And so at a meeting today, the mayor and Mike Brzezicki, two of the three voting members of the bond committee, myself being the third, and made the decision to essentially have the chair of the committee assume responsibility for managing the city's debt, and consequently and ultimately the cash that the city has available. My concern about this is twofold. One, it is changing a process and a way of managing the city's cash and debt that has existed always, 30, 40, 50, 60, as many years back as our records show. The functions that have now been assumed by the mayor have been managed through and by the office of the city treasurer. And there's a reason why the treasurer is an elected office, elected by the public to be accountable to the public, to ensure there is separation of duties, responsibility, control, and checks and balances in our state government system, particularly as it relates to city cash management, debt, financing, and investments. And to the extent that that process has now been transferred largely to the hands of the mayor, I am concerned that it places far too much unilateral control of our bond issuing external resources, our professional consults in the bond council and in the municipal advisor, and control over things like sizing and structuring our bonds in the hands of the very same individual that processes our payments, that manages our many of and most of the vendors of the city, and it has not taken into account the risks associated with that, let alone the costs now associated with this new process. So I urge the public to pay very close attention to the level of control that's being exerted on the operation of city government in so many places and in so many ways. It's deeply concerning. So the public interest is what counts and matters most, and protecting that interest. I will assure the public that I report and am accountable to you, and you can continue to trust that I will do that. Thank you very much. Velda Jones Potter, your city treasurer.